German soldiers getting hurt.
It could be the opportunity to become the hero you always wanted to be. It won't, but it could. Ouch.
It will be the end of Yendar's famous airborne leap.
Two pick. No.
When the going gets tough, the Dan gets going. I am nothing if not man incarnate. Because you can't spell Dan without man.
We are still stuck out here in the middle of nowhere.
My plan is complete. This power is all mine.
Oh man. Run away, coward! Where are you so I can kill you myself?
You lose. Valhalla is mine.
Mind shackle.
So, Kelda, this is how your quest ends. Everyone that you've been protecting, captured or dead.
I can offer you something you want.
And what would that be?
Power.
To the death, then. Now this is a fight.
You are the only one who can save Valhalla.
We have an agreement then.
Yes, Korok. We agree.
And I have a plan.
We're all gonna die.
What's wrong with
this guy.
Welcome to ToV Live. It is Valhalla time. Exciting time tonight. Exciting time tonight. Hello everybody, welcome to the ToV live stream. I am Ryan, aka Tales of Valhalla, or you can call me Tails, if you're so inclined to not say all that. Tails is just fine. How are we doing tonight, everybody? Looking at some, well, Heroscape stuff tonight, especially when it comes to like looking at those trailers and the countdown video there. Just has me thinking of story and lore and stuff. And well, we got some pretty much fresh off the presses, a new scenario, so free bonus content, new scenario, and a page of a journal entry that we hadn't seen before since last week. I mean, it got, you know, this stuff was able to be accessed, or we were able to access it last Monday. And so I thought, okay, why don't I do a stream of this tonight, and we read through it, talk about it a little bit, and have some fun with it. So in short, I really had nothing else planned tonight. And so this might be a short stream. Be honestly frank with you. But let's just show it. And of course, link in the description below if you want to download this scenario and look at the page journal entry yourself. But this was announced on the the Renegade Heroscape Discord, and it says here we got Anais saying, "Heroscape fans, we have a free Heroscape scenario available for you, available now for download. Check out Heroscape Scenario 1, Claiming Wayward Souls. Download here." And so I did it. And so let us take a look at this real quick. Okay. So here is the journal entry. So we'll read through this first. And so this is going to be interesting because I haven't actually personally read this yet. So you're going to get my first reaction to this. But I mean, I did read this header, but anything else I might have skimmed, but no in-depth reading. So this is all first come, first serve for me. I was able to hold off for a week to not look at this. So let us get started with this. Okay. Sonlen's journal entry number 1. Now, stop the presses. Stop the presses. Just right there. That gets me asking questions like, Sonlen, where is Thorman? Now, I know, like, I have a little bit of knowledge about Age of Annihilation Avalon Hill lore from Chris Nadow, because we talked to him quite a bit way back when, and Thorman was going to have his own faction. He was still kind of narrating things within the Avalon Hills version. I have no idea what Renegade's up to, and so that kind of mystifies me. Where's Thorman? This is no longer Thorman's journal. This is Sonlen's journal, and Sonlen, of course, is one of our characters in the game that we already have. He has a little dragon, although we've seen images of a Sonlen with an adult Sonlen dragon, which is going to be fun when that comes out. So that again just causes me speculating. Are we going to get Thorman? Are we going to get a Thorman faction? I was really looking forward to a Thorman faction. I really was, just to be perfectly honest with y'all. But I guess we'll see what happens with that, but that was my first initial thought. Not even reading the first sentence, just this. That journal, Sonlen's journal entry number 1. So there'll be more. All right, 19th day of I'm sorry, I ended it right there. Astara. Now I'll have to clip that because oh my goodness. Okay, I'm already messing this up. 19th day of Astara. At least I think that's how that sound. Fractured. The bonds of alliance are fractured. Okay. So a lot of fracturing, discord, strife. See, I can't read tonight. I can't read. I might as well just cut the stream right now. Can't find my voice here. I'm gonna drink something. I'm gonna try doing this all over again. I'm gonna mark it just in case I want to mark the timeline here. Okay, let's try that over. Sonlen's journal entry number 1, 19th day of Astara. Fractured. The bonds of alliance are fractured. Amidst the first hint of the war's end, representatives of the most influential generals gathered. Knight Irene and her mighty Ursine presented for Jandar. I think that's Tarot. Tarot, the Hamato and his retainers lobbied for Einar, Queen Kirion, Akiri of unknown nobility, in parentheses, claimed to represent Vidar, Zenithrax the dragon and her aide, Diranis the bard, spoke on behalf of Aquila. Leviatak and the turncoat Raylan stood in service of the vile Utgar. I myself spoke on behalf of Lord Uller, alongside Gammon the hunter. Okay, my thoughts. I'll re-go through this. I'm just going to read through it all once before I make a comment. There's a lot of stuff here. Unforeseen to all of us, though, was the arrival of Revna, a new Valkyrie general wishing to reach peace. That should be in parentheses. Peace as well. Her advocates, Mizrax and Rakshot, left many soldiers across the various armies uneasy. Akiri, back from the dead, a soul-bending wizard, did not instill a great deal of trust in this new contender's goals. As negotiations were underway, infighting began across the different generals' encampments. What started as a spark of petty squabbles quickly ignited into an inferno of indigence. Indigence. I'm sorry. Okay, whatever. It did not take long before any negotiations were called off and the forces all retreated a distance after skirmishing. Since the peace summit, suspicion and a bitter hate have sprouted up in people's hearts. At the brink of respite, the weary nations have been plunged into a renewed war, maintaining their views that peace cannot be achieved until all threats are removed from the world of Valhalla. With the timing of Lady Revna's arrival, it was not long before the correlation between her public revelation and the summit's collapse firmly etched itself into the minds of all. While a select few seek answers in fact and investigation, most seek them in blood and retribution. I fail to see the benefit for a general to announce their imminence before instigating attacks, only to immediately deny any involvement. Convincing my soldiers, however, was not fruitful. Pleas for patience are melodies oft unheard by battle-deafened ears. Multiple warbands have splintered out of the various armies, some even unifying across banners in the cause of justice. While the various encampments recognize and fortify themselves, many soldiers depart from their camps, seeking retaliation, chasing the bulk of ravenous forces all the way to Anund. Tonight, Valhalla weeps. It weeps the bitter tears of one who has tasted relief, only for it to be crushed underfoot once more. Oops, sorry. While we await orders from our generals, it has become difficult to know who we can trust. Old wounds have been reopened, and it is unclear if any of the long-standing bonds of the past still hold any of the Valkyrie together in alliance. I do not know if my intuitions of Revna's involvement are correct, but regardless of who is responsible, I mourn the peace that shall not be. Okay, so I read through it, and now let me give my first initial thoughts on this. Okay. Well, just one, on a visual representation, the font is a little confusing. Not horribly confusing, but is slightly confusing with this. I think the original Thorman's font was a bit better. I mean, this just looks like, you know, typed in, whatever. But that's just a minor complaint. Now let's get into the actual story here, because I feel like, it's been a while since I've read like the last Thorman's journal entry, from like over 10 years ago till this one now, this past week. But I think that right now there's a lot of gaps in between that time, and so far there's really no explanation. Yeah, Roguescaper saying, hey there, Roguescaper in the chat, how you doing? The font was definitely hard for me to read. Yeah, I was struggling with a word or two. I'm just like, is that word? Yeah, okay. But I got through it. But anyway, just the fact that there's a huge gap, and I actually almost feel like I'm sorry. I mean, I don't think it's got anything to do with my channel or my own personal Tales of Valhalla lore, but where they're coming from, whatever's happened in between this, between the time when the last Thorman's journal entry till this journal entry, there seemed to be like kind of like a little bit of a splintering, like the alliance hasn't been very strong. There hasn't been much fighting. They were having like some type of unquiet peace, which is my lore. That's my Tales of Valhalla lore. That's what happens. I mean, there's a lot of differences, don't get me wrong, but just the fact that it's vaguely similar just perks my ears up a little bit. Like, did they take something from my stuff? If not, then I want my check. No, I'm kidding. But I just find that interesting, because it's like, okay, there was a lot of stuff happening near the end for Thorman's journal. And so where is the Morrow threat? What about the undead threat? You know, what about like Vidar and his underground? Because there was lots of like rumors of Vidar like taking over the underground. What's going on with all that? Where is Thorman? And as far as like, and there's some vague story details in here too. Let me go through this again and point out what I'm talking about. Okay, fractured. The bonds of alliance are fractured. Amidst the first hint of the war's end, representatives of the most influential generals gathered. Okay, wait, another interesting thing pointing out, though, the lack of conflict is my biggest gripe with the current lore. Yeah, I don't know, there just seems to be a lot of things missing. I mean, you can't expect everything to be in here, so, I mean, this is just something that I hope they'll cover sometime in the future. This is one thing that I was kind of upset about, because in the master set and the battle box, And even though, yes, I haven't read through the scenarios, but there was no journal entry in the front cover. See, Sonlen's journal entry number 1. This is our first journal entry. And in the Wayward products, we have not gotten a journal entry at all about anything, about knowing anything. So that to me is, that kind of like devalued for me just a little bit, the Age of Annihilation First Master set, just a little bit. I still got the stuff, I still love the stuff, but it just devalued it a little bit for me. But it's interesting, like they mentioned some, so Night Irene, the Earth sign for Jandar, Hatamoto. Who's Hatamoto? Is that the flag bearer, or is that someone new? I don't remember off my mind. His retainers, Queen Kirion, which we know, a Kiri of unknown nobility, which is an interesting. So who is, and Queen in parentheses. So who is this quote unquote queen? Claimed to represent Vidar. He's the Einar flag bearer. That's what I figured. So they mention a flag bearer here in his retainers for Einar. So we really get no present Einar and Nar. We get no present heroes, just one from the past. That's probably really hard to acquire right now. We get Queen Kirion by herself, claiming to represent Vidar. So you can see that Sonlen's not trusting her right now. Heroscape saying, I think it'd be compelling for a peace conference to happen, and it's sabotaged secretly by Revna, but it causes the alliance to splinter. Some kind of call to action and inter-conflict would help. Yeah, no, I see where they were going from here for getting Revna in. I think that's one story plot that I like in this writing. But just bear with me. Zenithrax, the dragon, and her aide, Dionysus the Bard, which we have not seen that one yet. So hopefully we'll get a bard sometime down the way. Spoke on behalf of Aquila. We just see that like Vidar is that general faction isn't really represented well. There's not a lot of trust there. And then Lovey attack, of course we know, and the turncoat Raylan. So this is turncoat Raylan. Okay, we're getting mixed signals here about Raylan's evil origins, because I thought evil Raylan was supposed to be controlled. Why is someone accusing her of being a turncoat? Unless now they're going with what Chris Nadow said originally, that Raylan chose to join Utgar. And at the same time, why is Utgar even going to this peace conference in the first place? I'm sorry, Utgar is not the type of character, and anything that I've seen in previous Heroscape lore, that would even consider a peace summit. Nowhere. It would not be considered. He's gathering up all armies around him to take over. He don't care. He don't care for peace. So this is one issue I have with it. Like oh, we're just going to try to be friends and stuff together. I'm very disbelieving in that. Unless they want to change the story. Look, if Renegade wants to change the story, that's fine. I'm just basing this off of what we already know on Heroscape lore. And that, to me, that's just a little off. That is a little off. Having Utgar just right there, his representatives right there, somehow discussing peace. So, yeah, I mean, if I were in that group, I wouldn't buy it. Hexella, maybe Sonlen isn't aware of Raylan being controlled. Maybe, but they would write, I mean, every word in this journal should be written for a reason. If I were writing this, if I were in charge of the lore, which I'm not, everything written down, every word, should have some meaning to the overall story. They shouldn't be taken this lightly if they are. So it could be Sonlen's perspective. You're absolutely right, Hexala. But just the fact it says turncoat. I mean, Sonlen has a relationship with Yandar. I think Ular and Jandar, or Ular and Yandar, however you say the general is his name, they have more bonds with each other than those two factions have more bonds with each other than the other factions within Heroscape. So if anyone would know that Raylan betrayed Jandar, people within Ular would know whether or not something happened. I don't think their ties of communication would be upended. The Heroscaper says it'd be nice if they mentioned something like Utgar's strongholds have even faltered as of late, to maybe indicate why Utgar would consider a momentary peace. Yes, something like that. It's just right off the bat that like they're just there and a peace. No, that doesn't work with the lore. I mean, and it's like I don't claim to be an expert on this. Jeremy is the expert, but I've learned a lot from Jeremy these past 15 some years in creating Tales of Valhalla. So I have a slight idea of what this world is supposed to originally be like. So that's one thing that stands out to me. Let's see here. I myself spoke. Oh, I need a drink. My gosh, my throat. But it's interesting. I do like the fact that you have like characters that we don't know anything about yet. It's like I can't wait to see minis and cards for these sometime down the line, you know. Okay, I myself spoke on behalf of Lord Uller alongside Gammon the Hunter. Who is Gammon the Hunter? Is Gammon the Hunter? I think Gammon the Hunter and Direnis the Bard. We don't know anything about those characters. I don't think those are unknowns right now. Hey Justin, how you doing there in the chat? Justin says favorite part of this journal was the tease of Aquila's Bard. Yep, just talking about that. A bard seems like the perfect addition to a game. Yes. A classic fantasy trope that Renegade can put their own spin on. Rogue Saber says, I hope the bard is a Dryan. Yeah, I hope so. But anyway, you got a bard, we got a hunter. So it's interesting. Okay, and then let's read the unforeseen to all this. So was the arrival of Revna, a new Valkyrie general wishing to reach peace as well. Again, if they're fighting over the well springs, okay, and let's just say for the sake of argument, I mean the well springs haven't gone away. In my lore, the well springs have gone away, so that's why there was no reason for them to fight, really. So an unquiet peace occurred. But according to what we're being told or not being told, that type of thing hasn't happened. Well springs are still around. They're still being fought over. And the well springs themselves is the main tie of contention with all the factions. So if that stuff's still there, I don't know why they're meeting for peace, period. Because they'd still be fighting over it. How are you supposed to come to an agreement on a resource that once you start consuming it, it takes over your very self? It's like having the ring in Lord of the Rings. You don't want to share it with anybody. You want to keep it all for yourself. And if the strongest, biggest Utgar character, if the strongest, biggest faction is trying to take everybody out, of course you're going to have an alliance together to take them out. But once Utgar's gone, what do you think is going to happen to the rest of them? Yeah, do you think they're going to stay allied? Probably not. Justin says super stressed, but it's nothing big. Probably just need a good night's sleep. Justin, just on a personal note to you, sir, I understand slightly. The past month or so for me has been stressed, to say the least. I've had a lot on my plate. Ever since I got home from ScapeCon, I haven't even gotten out any of the Age of Annihilation stuff that I've purchased. No Heroscape stuff. I've been that busy. I've been barely have had time to stream or edit video. So I get it. I understand, sir. I understand, sir. I mean, but for me, it's going to take more than just a good night's sleep. But bless you, sir. Thank you for being on tonight. Okay. So let's see here. Okay, so a new Valkyrie general. So all we know now is Revna. There still are other Valkyrie generals. One who must not be named, who's been in the past, and then there was another one. Chat, please remind me who was the other one that they're not mentioning yet. I know there was another one that they should have been bringing in that was part of Avalon Hill's AOA. I'll wait a few seconds. Be brought that up, but unforeseen. Volarak. There you go. Thank you. Yes, missing. Unforeseen to all of us, though. Okay, was the arrival of Revna, Vukan wishing to reach peace as well. Her advocates, Mizrax and Rakshot, left many soldiers across the various armies uneasy. Akiri back from the dead, and a soul-bending wizard do not instill a great deal of trust in this new contender's goals. That's just a funny line. I mean, at least it shows like a little bit of plot development in the story to where, okay, you got this new, but out of nowhere, yeah, okay, who is Revna? You know, where's she coming from? I think that's what we need to know, some of that stuff. As negotiations were underway and fighting began across the different generals' encampments. Okay, this is very vague. This is one thing that, okay, I understand you have a page of a Lord Journal entry to do, okay? So there's only so much you can write, but this all is just very vague to me. It's like, okay, what exactly happened? Infighting began across the different generals' encampments. Like, so you had all these main characters like in a tent talking, and then you had other parts of the faction like on different encampments starting to fight each other. Is that what you mean by that? Did the actual negotiations between the main characters like break down internally because of that, or would they break down and then you had it's just kind of vague to me. What started as a spark of petty squabbles quickly ignited into an inferno of indigenous. Okay, I'm gonna. It did not take long before any negotiations were called off, and the forces all retreated at a distance after skirmishing. Heroscape, you're right about one thing, Master. The negotiations were short. Actually, wait a second, let me try this. Okay. I was trying to do an English voice, and I'm not going to be able to get it. I can't get into that mode right now. Justin says it's a combination of long hours at work. Yeah, see, and I just got a job like over a month ago too, so I get it. And preparing my house warming party that occurred yesterday. Oh, cool. I'm helping my father with his YouTube channel. Never realized how much work you guys put in. Yep. Yeah, in order to, you got to be consistent with it too. Keeping the consistency is the thing. You just got to, okay, what am I going to do tonight? I don't know. Okay, I'm going to do this thing. But yep, sir. All right, let's see. It did not take long before. Okay, yeah. It did not take long before any negotiations were called off, and the forces all retreated a distance after skirmishing. Okay, since the peace summit, suspicion and a bitter hate have sprouted up in people's hearts. That's just a weird sentence. Okay, wait a minute. Okay, since the peace summit, comma. Suspicion and a bitter hate have sprouted up in people's hearts. Okay, now I get that. All right. Okay, just saying, it's a narrow gauge railroading channel. EAU or Gale Scenic Railway if interested. Justin, I'll take a look at it. And we just got monetized earlier this month. Oh wow! Congratulations. So you're okay. You're getting up in there. Congratulations to you. Well, as long as I remember and I have time, I'll take a look at it, and I'll try to give it like a mention and a nod sometime in the future if I get to it. I will get to it sooner or later for sure. That I promise you, because you help support this channel a little bit, and I appreciate everything you do, sir. Okay, since okay. So again, this okay. Just the sentence. This is just all just kind of vague. I mean, it's describing the situation, but not getting specific. At the brink of respite, the weary nations have been plunged into a renewed war. Okay, now this is something that stands out to me. Have been plunged into a renewed war. Okay, where was the pause? At the brink of respite. Okay, where was the fighting pause? Because again, this time gap, or is there much of a time gap between Thormund's journal and this? And what is the time gap between Thormund's journal and this one? Is it days, months, years? We don't know too much about that. So that's my question. Because renewed war, this should have been just kept on going. I mean, it hasn't really stopped, I don't think, unless renewed war amidst all the factions. It's like they skipped over the exciting part, the rising action. Yeah, I hope future scenarios dive deeper into the stories. Yeah, me too. It's just, I don't know. It's just some stuff. I mean, it's not terrible, but there are some flaws, which we're talking about now tonight. Maintaining their views that peace cannot be achieved until all threats are removed from the world of Valhalla. Okay, now this is one thing that kind of stands out to me here. At the brink of respite, the weary nations have been plunged into a renewed war. Maintaining their views that peace cannot be achieved until all threats are removed in the world of Valhalla. That is very vague. Okay, that peace cannot be achieved until all threats. Who's thinking this? Are all of them thinking it? And what threats? Themselves? The other factions? The Wellsprings? What threats? Who is actually thinking this? Don't know. Don't know. With the timing of Lorevna's arrival, it was not long before the correlation between her public revelation and the summit's collapse firmly etched itself into the minds of all. Okay. Okay. This one tells me that, okay, Sonlen's suspicious of Revna, because timing, because, you know, coincidental coincidences, you know, like, you know, the dam didn't break until someone went kaboom, and then the dam broke, you know. So the dam didn't break until someone brought dynamite. While a select few seek answers in fact and investigation, most seek them in blood and retribution. Okay, this is another thing that kind of like, okay, so everybody's lost their minds then, basically, because from my original thoughts of the original Heroscape lore, you had a lot of good individuals within all the factions. The mindless hordes were like the Utgar faction. I mean, within Einar, maybe you had some people in lockstep, you know, within that faction. But you had individual leaders. You had, it was less of a hive mind and more of just like a strong leadership / dictatorship type thing. But the rest of the factions, you had a lot of individuals, you know, thinking for themselves. They would follow the lead of people, but you had individuals willing to act on their own and think through things. So that line just confuses me a bit. Why is everyone turning into mindless to where it's like, oh, all we care about now is fighting? It's like that just, I don't know. I'm just kind of confused about that. I fail to see the benefit for a general to announce their eminence before investigating attacks. So Sonlen's basically saying, like, why has everybody lost their minds? Only to immediately deny any involvement. Okay, well, and specifically right here is now it's talking about, I think that's talking about Revna right there. So Revna is denying any involvement. So Revna, I think they're trying to show that Revna is like being manipulative here. That's what I'm gaining from the sentence. It's just these words. I mean, these words. You know, they're very selective, but I don't know. I guess we're trying to imagine how Sonlen would speak, you know, because he's an elf. So he'd probably speak like whatever the version of an elf he is here in Valhalla. Convincing my soldiers, however, was not fruitful. Pleas for patience are melodies oft unheard by battle-deafened ears. Okay, so now he's saying, like, within his own faction, Uller. So again, individual thinking heroes and squads that should be in the factions of Yandar, Ular, Aquila, Vidar, Einar for a good portion of it. They should be individual thinkers themselves and not fall into this mindless, okay, I'm fighting just reasons. That's Utgar that thinks that way. Possibly Revna probably thinks that way. I think Revna is a shrewd individual, though. So yeah, again, this just kind of confuses me. Why all of a sudden this bloodlust? You know, what happened to this attack? You know, they almost had like, you know, we fight for the defense. You know, we're not attacking, we're defending. You know, type of background. Where's this coming from? You know, multiple warbands have splintered out of the various armies. Okay, so we're self-separating because of what's happening before, and what's happening before is because reasons. You know, it's all just saying this is happening now because of what just happened, but what just happened is very confusing. And you got to keep this in mind that, like, okay, like, I am a very engaged storyteller. That's what I do. I mean, script writing, storytelling, understanding the reason why these things are happening in detail. And this just, again, if you know, something comes out, you know, in the next few months or whatever, you know, starting to get more in depth in things and explaining why things, then okay, fine. You know, these are just concerns I have. This isn't, you know, inked in or penned in permanent ink. This is just what I'm observing. And I'm probably going to be a little bit of a harsher critic than most. But it's just very vague to me. Let's see here. Okay. Well, okay. Seeking retaliation, chasing the bulk of Revna's forces all the way to Anon. So, okay, that tells me that they're going after Revna, and they can't. So, got a bloodlust basically for Revna. Seems like. Tonight, Valhalla weeps. I mean, I don't. Again, Sonlen has this perspective that's like, well, Valhalla should have been weeping a long time ago because of all the stuff that's happening. Whenever the past, you know, like when during the time of Thormund's journal entries, again, where's this gap? Is there a gap? You know, where are we in the timeline here? Because according to AOA, or the Avalon Hill AOA version, some time had passed, from what I remember. So what is Renegade's position on where the time schedule is? Again, never mind the fact that Heroscape lore has a lot of holes anyway, and it's from previous. How are we bringing this all together here? While we await orders from our generals, it has become difficult to know who we can trust. Old wounds have been reopened. Okay, why? Why have old wounds been reopened? To who? From what? Where? Why have that there if we're not getting a good definition here? It is unclear if any of the long-standing bonds of the past still hold any Valkyrie together in alliance. Why? You're not telling me why. Why write this down if you're going to be like very vague? I do not know if my intuitions of Redna's involvement are correct, but regardless of who is responsible, I mourn the peace that shall not be. Okay. I'm gonna okay, things positive about this, and I'm just saying, if I were to rewrite this, this is how I'd rewrite this. Take out anything when it comes to like all the factions and vaguely telling all the factions are distrusting each other. Just leave that out. And let's see, Heroscape are saying, my tinfoil hat is that Revna is innocent but will be blamed. And then Thorman will be revealed to be a Shadow Force orchestrating this. Probably not, but it'd be cool. Actually, Josiah, that would actually be nice. I would be, that would be interesting if Thorman's just in the background. But based off what I'm reading here, okay, I'm just going off what I'm reading here. We could have a shorter journal entry and still have something being said that would hold a lot more things together. Okay, let me just put it this way. Now, I'm not going to use the colorful language, but let me just try and reconstruct this, okay? Let's just say there is a gathering of armies to dispute something. I don't know what it is, but not peace. I'm sorry. That for me, that just like, maybe there is some type of like wellspring force, or maybe they're gathering together to talk about the fact that the wellsprings are causing people to go insane, or some type of wellspring threat. That would be interesting, and so that would give reason for Utgar to like want to be part of this as well, to maybe gather what information they can about whatever the wellsprings may or may not be doing. And driving a lot of Kiri insane. If it's covering all kinds of armies, that would be kind of a threat that would bring people together, depending on what the time gap is between Thorman Journal's last entry and this one. Okay, that would be a good reason to get together. And then you have basically, I don't think I would change much about Revna coming in. You know, the rival of Revna. Okay, who is this new faction? We're already, not trusting much each other because the wellsprings we've been fighting over are driving people insane. And then this new Valkyrie general is coming out of nowhere. Who is this person? And then it starts, and then Revna maybe like doesn't look untrustworthy, but starts sowing discord among everybody. Starts making arguments, but starts bringing up things about different generals and different factions that the others might not know about. They might be keeping things from each other, maybe for good reasons, but Revna knows, and the people within Revna know, and they start revealing that, and that begins a tear within the Valkyrie generals. And okay, and I think that's all you would need. And then that would be a reason why Valhalla weeps, because now everybody is just mistrusting each other because of the fact that the wellsprings are driving some people crazy. And Sonlen would have every right to suspect Revna for for putting in thoughts and arguments for different factions to start mistrusting each other. But at the same time, now Revna, so some people be mad at, the people within Revna's faction for sowing this discord and then chase them away, and recognizing, okay, Revna seems to be like a big threat. I mean, even Utgar might think Revna looks like is might be a bigger threat than me. And this would cause now all of a sudden a huge mistrust. This is just me thinking off the seat of my pants. But you can bring it together and cut it down. And again, Renegade, if you're watching this, and sometimes I know that there's some people within Renegade who do sometimes, this could have been flushed out better. I'm just saying, I'm saying that from the limited experience I have in storytelling. This could have been flushed out a bit better based on what I know. And I could be wrong about some of my lore points, and I don't mind, I don't mind scrutiny. If someone wants to say, oh, Ryan, actually, well, this actually is what it's supposed to mean. That's fine. But based on what I'm saying and what I remember, that's kind of my position on it. It could have been rewritten better. Heroscape says it would be great that all the known well springs are being poisoned. I mean, that's what we kind of get from the character introductions, like some of the character lore that we've gotten from Wave 1 and Wave 2, because each of these individual hero miniatures that we're getting, there's a little bit of lore. And that what seems, and that's from what I read, that's kind of what's happening. So why not bring that into this journal entry, them coming together because of that reason? Coming together for peace, like I said, it's I wouldn't say it's lazy writing. It's I mean, some people might say it's lazy writing. I'm not going to go that far, but it could have been better than just saying, oh, we're trying to discuss peace. I'm sorry. No, I think that's my hugest criticism of this whole thing. Yeah, it'd be great if all the known well springs are being poisoned or driving people mad or crazy. And it's a group conference to determine the cause. Exactly. That'd be a nice hook. It would actually have something, and would have actually have something being annihilated in the... Yeah, exactly, Roguescaper. Exactly. It's like, again, Age of Annihilation, and I asked this to Chris Nato a long time ago. What's being annihilated here? And we're not getting an answer. It's just like there's a lot of gaps here. And so, okay, rant done. Like I said, Lee, if you're watching this sometime down the road, for anybody from Renegades watching this down the road, I gave my take. Some of it is good, but it leaves a lot to be desired, especially on the storytelling aspect. And that's just me being... someone who's written literally like a couple hundred pages worth of script for like my own type of Heroscape story. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. There's this could have been looked at and narrowed down better. And again, and I'll say that with a caveat though. Maybe they have ways to fill this in, like why they were coming for peace. Maybe they'll fill in that age gap sometime in the past, but so far, based on what I currently know, that's my take. Anyway, okay. So that's looking at Sonlen's journal entry number 1. Like I said, I'm not totally against it. I think the Revna stuff is good. Looking at seeing the characters is good. But there's just some things it's like it could have been done better. There could have been a better hook, like Roguescaper's saying in the chat. Okay, now let's look at this though. Map 1, the regenerated Riverside. Okay, so I'm just going to read for this a second. Look at it, spend an hour. So okay, so it still did a fairly good stream tonight. Age of Annihilation Master Set, Grove at Lower's Edge, Battle for Wellspring. So you need these 3 sets in order to make this. And I think this is a huge map too. So, yeah, fairly huge. I think that would cover the whole half of my table if I were to do this thing. But so this is a scenario. So basically, to build a scenario, you need, you basically need all of Wave 1 in order to build this set. Kind of expensive. Online Scenario 1. Claiming Wayward Souls. Master game. Okay. Amidst the ambush near one of Anud's rivers, Revna's congregation awaits. Their prey, an Einar warband on the hunt for deserters, is marching past the Soul Cairns. The army is formidable, outnumbering the acolytes hidden in the trees. Despite this, Revna's forces remain undeterred in their ambush. For the faithful know that as long as the Soul Cairns surround them, death is only a temporary setback. Revna promises to protect and embrace the deserters seeking her. With this promise comes a swift and hateful justice that her warriors will bring down upon any wayward souls that dare strike down her newest believers. This is one thing I like about Revna. Revna just seems like an undead hive mind queen, and it'd be really cool. This is one thing we kind of need sometime down the line. I like to see the Valkyrie General minis. I know they've been in the back burner for like what now, 20 plus years, but seeing a Revna Valkyrie General, that would be kind of cool to see. Okay, goal: destroy opponent's figures. Both players decide who will be player 1 and player 2. Player 1 is the warband player who builds and places a 450 point army. That's kind of big. In the purple starting, so in the center starting zone. So you start in the center. Player 2 is the ambush player who builds and places a 300 point army. Only a 300 point army? In the orange starting zones. Place randomly chosen glyphs face down where shown in the map, and hexes marked with question mark. Okay. So ambushed, I guess. So the ambushers are closer to the glyphs. That could help them. And the center army, okay. And the center army is greater. Okay, I guess that, helps. Goal: destroy all your opponent's figures. Set up. Both players decide who play. Okay, victory: when another player has no figures left on the battlefield, you won. At the end of round 6, if both armies still have figures on the battlefield, the warband calls for backup and player 1 wins the game. Interesting. Okay. Now, this is what I find odd with this scenario. Because the 450 point army has an 150 point advantage against the 300 point army. Yet you expect the 300 point army to wipe out the 450 point army in 6 turns. And if not in 6 turns, the warband army gets backup. Justin is saying, I personally don't want to see figures for the Valkyrie generals because I'm embodying those generals when I play. I understand that. I understand the perspective, Justin. I totally get that. I totally get that. Yeah, I understand. I kind of half feel the same way. I can understand where the argument's coming from. But all the same, for aesthetics reason, and just for the fact that it would be cool to have a Valkyrie general that's like 500 points or something, you know. And then it would be like a boss type of skirmish, you know, a boss battle type of skirmish, kind of like what Time Strike does in Adventure Together games. That would be kind of interesting. But I'm kind of confused on this scenario because, I mean, yes, the 300-point army does have the advantages of just getting whatever the glyph powers are, and that helps them. But is that a good balance between the two? I don't know. I'd have to really play this out, and I don't know if I would have time anytime soon to play it out. Justin says, but on the other hand, maybe a collector statue. There you go. See. Yeah, I just don't get it. Like after 6 rounds, if you don't get rid of all the 450 point army, then player 1 just automatically wins. I don't know. That seems kind of a little unfair. That kind of gives, I think it gives a little bit more disadvantage to player 2 as opposed to player 1. Slightly. Yeah, I don't know. Special rules, ambush. Look alive. It's an ambush. At the start of the first round, instead of rolling for initiative, player 2 is given initiative. Well, I'd imagine so. Initiative is rolled for normal, or for as normal after this round. Okay, so they're given the initiative, and I would expect that. And when I was ranting about this, I was kind of expecting that was going to be the case. Soul Cairns. Before starting the game, place the 6 glyphs shown on the map face down. These glyphs cannot be revealed. At the start of each round, after rolling initiative, player 2 may reveal the X order marker on an army card of a small or medium figure to return a previously destroyed figure from that card to the battlefield and place it on one of the face down glyphs. Okay, now this is better. Okay. So you get reinforcements. Then remove the glyph the figure was placed on. If the placed figure has a life value greater than 1, place wound markers onto its army card until it has a number of wound markers equal to 1 less of its life value. Okay, I think I understand enough to where... okay. So player 2 is given that advantage. Okay, so that balances it out. Okay, I'm better with that then. If any figure enters a space with a face down glyph on it, the figure ends its movement normally. Blah, 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 blah. Okay. All right. So that looks like a fun then type of scenario. Okay. Forget my ranting that I did earlier about it. That seems a little bit more balanced if player 2 has those advantages. Again, I don't know when I'd be able to skirmish this or do it. Just doing small skirmishes on this table. I'm going to try to do some this Wednesday maybe, but that still is a big if. But anyway, Heroscape credits. Senior producer Dan, associate producer Heroscape Lee. We all know Lee. We all recognize Lee. We applaud Lee. Creative director, Renegade design and development, scenario design, illustrators, graphic design, blah 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 blah. Then we got Craig Van Ness still there, along with Stephen Baker and Rob Davio. Design and development. And we got Ben there too, Dadscaper there. It's cool to see people's names that that you've spoken to before in the past. That's really cool. Anyway, so that's basically it, guys. So that is the regenerated Riverside scenario, okay, yeah, regenerated Riverside. That's an interesting map. And actually, here, hold on a second. Let me bring this up. I'm trying to bring this up. Hold on a second. So that's what it looks like here. So an easier way to build it. But there you go. So there's your glyphs there. Boom, 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 boom. There's where you can place your armies, and I think this has even gone through like a alteration or two, as far as regenerated Riverside goes. But there's another example. I think this might even be an updated version of it. But an interesting map because your start zone is a little bit different from. I mean, this is scenario play, not competitive play. So interesting. But yeah, so that is basically it, guys, for tonight. I am going to bed because work week. But yeah, for this Wednesday, I know the last 3 Wednesdays, I've been on my other YouTube channel, the Tales of the Void YouTube channel, reading through the Time Strike rulebook, because that was we were given the digital version, digital page version of it, and so I read through all 40 plus pages of that rulebook, Time Strike, and then probably in the next few weeks I'm going to read the Source Golf rulebook on that YouTube channel. But I think this Wednesday, like, there's not going to be too many more Wednesdays where I'm going to be doing live streams on Tales of Valhalla. It's going to be focusing on Sunday, so I can give kind of equal give equal time to both YouTube channels now that I'll be balancing both, especially after all of Adventure Together stuff comes out in like September, almost out of September, then October, and then November. Like, that stuff should be coming to us in November. So yeah, so again, there's going to be a balance, you know, with that in the coming months. But I think this Wednesday, I think I will like get on my side here, and we're going to do a little bit of skirmishes with the Age of Annihilation Master Set minis, because right now the miniatures for my battle box are actually being painted by Roguescaper. So I don't have those, but I might do some some small skirmishes and combinations just to get them out and just get a feel for those minis and how they play. So I think that's what we're going to do. So yeah, but if there's any other journal entries in the future, I'll definitely give them a first read and talk about them. I feel like I have slightly different perspective than maybe some, and just say I'm really looking forward to receiving my source tiles. I might have went a little overboard. Well, Justin, we'll see. But Justin, I can tell you from my experience, because I did get some of the source terrain, just a handful, when I saw the Adventure Together team at Gen Con. They gave me just a little bit of stuff, and my son loves building those things. Like, he built like with Heroscape tiles today, and he's like, he was breaking a lot of them because it's the older stuff, but he still built a map. But I know it's so much more easier for him for those source tiles. And when he first got those source terrain tiles, he would for 5 consecutive days, like in the morning, he'd wake up and he's like, "Daddy, I want those. I want the source stuff," basically. And he'd be building with them. Like I said, it was just only a handful of stuff, but he'd be trying to do whatever changes he could do with the map. And he, I mean, this is a 6-year-old, doing this, and he had a lot of fun with it. It was very user friendly. I really like him a lot. I mean, I'm not going to give my final evaluation on them until I actually receive what I get in November, and do a good evaluation of the source terrain and all that. But I really like them. They, like I said, and those edge pieces, revolutionary. But anyway, so probably in the next couple weeks, I'll again start streaming more consistently on the Tales of the Void YouTube channel, and we'll go through the rulebook. So if you haven't, please subscribe to that YouTube channel. It's starting to grow that. Right now, like at just a handful of subscribers. So we're appreciate if anybody's interested in Time Strike, Adventure Daily Games, or the source terrain system. Definitely check it out. Starting to build content there too. So with that, I thank everybody for watching, and if you want, feel free to leave a comment. Let me know at what out of the Age of Annihilation Master Set would you like me to play this Wednesday. Let me know in a comment below, or before I shut down, if anybody wants to say anything in the chat. I will look at that. But with that, I thank everybody for watching. Like I said, this story, I mean, it just leaves a lot more questions. Now I've given myself another minute in here. I'm going to drink a second. Justin says Frost Claws. Okay. I can do. I really want to try those out anyway. I can do Frost Claws. So that will be on the list, Justin. But yeah, Sonlen's journal entry again. Sonlen's journal. I mean, I don't remember. Did Sonlen keep a journal entry from Thormund's journal last time? I'm thinking possibly, yeah. I know. Like we had journal entries from Drake. I don't remember if Sonlen had a journal entry or not. He could have. I don't remember. But yeah, just very interesting take. But I hope Thormund pops up sometime in the future because I hate for them to waste that character. And yeah, just, I mean, Renegade, you might impress some people with this, but for me, as someone who's seasoned in storytelling, y'all got some work to do, my friends. Y'all got some work to do, just as not to my knowledge. Okay, I don't think so, but I thought maybe. But with that, yeah, I thank all of you for watching. Justin, everybody in the chat there, Roguescaper, Maxala for a second there. Thank you guys. And I'll probably like edit this sometime and just get its own separate video of the journal entry, because I thought I had some interesting things to say in that. But with that, thank you all for watching. So always appreciate coming on, you know, every Sunday, every Wednesday, knowing that possibly someone's going to jump in and have a discussion. It's really therapeutic for me. I appreciate it. Anyway, you have a purpose in your life. Find it, pursue it, live it, and this Wednesday, hopefully in time, I'll get some skirmishes ready and we can try out some Age of Annihilation Master Set Wave 1. Later now. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.